I was looking up on other things that you've done, and I saw that you gave a TED talk recently, in the past few years, and it was on something called the Four Connections. It really resonated with me because everything that you touched on, I feel like I'm trying to do in my life. But having you explain it was very helpful. So, would you mind kind of like giving us a little synopsis on that talk and giving us some pointers on what the four connections are?
Yeah, so these ideas come from I've been doing indigenous spiritual practices for 25 years or more. I do that because my mother is was Tarumara from Chihuahua, Mexico,
Okay.
and I've decided to go to that. I don't proselytize, preach, I don't convert nobody. It's just me and the way that I got myself. I've been in recovery now for 28 years, and most of it has been through indigenous practices. So, what the four key connections recognize is that we're alienated in this culture. We're alienated from who we are. We're alienated from nature. We really don't understand it. We're alienated from relationships. There's so much division, so much, battles, wars, people fighting over non-essential things. To me,
Mm.
borders are not essential, but people die for them. Belief systems, people are dying for them. There's so many ways, politics, that really, white supremacy, all these things. So what I am putting forward is the idea that our young people in particular need to have these four key connections. They need to go back to who they are as young people. And that means that we got to go back to something that's very old in nature. This is ancestral knowledge. The first key connection is connection with nature. Nature is all around us. Nature is really our best teacher. You learn from nature, you learn about the seasons, you learn about the trees, the plants, you learn that many of them are healing. Um, they got healing properties. Indigenous people from all over the world understood this. You learn that within nature, you learn how things live and die, how they get reborn, how flowers and beauty is created like we should do in the world. You learn about just the way things operate. And it's important to know these things because they also are helpful for us, guiding us as we negotiate ourselves through the world. So to me, it's really important to have that key connection, nature. The other one is the connection to our natures, our own nature. And that means, who are we? What are we here to do? What is our purpose? What's our passions? Uh, we forget about this. Nobody teaches that. Every almost schooling to me was just trying to get us to conform, trying to get us to end up working in the industry that happened to be around East LA or whatever. Get us
Mm.
to be like our parents and not who we were supposed to be. And of course, our parents fall into it. I don't blame them. My parents did not like that I wanted to be an artist because I was a graffiti artist, and then I did other art. I did murals. They didn't like it. They didn't like that I liked music. I once tried to play saxophone. It didn't work out because my brother couldn't beat me up anymore, so he beat up my saxophone one time, killed it. So, but they didn't like that I wanted to be a writer. They thought writing was a waste of time. I don't blame them, but to me, it's more about find your own genius. What are your gifts are? What are you here to do? That to me is getting to know our own nature. And the third connection is the nature of our relationships. We are very estranged from each other. We don't trust each other. A lot of it's because there's been so much mistrust, politics and domination, white supremacy, all these things has got us all fighting each other. We don't know who's who and what's what. When I was growing up and the body was there in Los Angeles, I I did it because it was my neighborhood to protect. I wasn't there to fight other Mexicans, but it then became we got to go after other people that look just like us. You know what I'm saying? We're
Mhm.
fighting people that in different neighborhoods. Some of them were even. I had a cousin that was in a rival neighborhood. Sometimes we were trying to go after our own family, but
Yeah.
everything we're going to war with ourselves. I took part in it, but then eventually I realized I don't want to do this no more. Uh, so that's important, the relationships, which really comes down to the golden rule, which I think is very important. Treat others as you want to be treated. But it's about
Mm.
respecting people, respecting yourself, and having your own dignity and never taking anyone else's dignity away. And then the fourth one is the nature of the divine, relationship to the divine. Now, people call this many things. It's connected to the unseen world, the spirit world, the world that's there and is part of who we are. We have spirit, everything has spirit. But And it's not religion, because I think religion is what people try to understand these things, and I'm okay with it. Whatever religion you are, that's fine. You know what I'm saying? Follow because every path is narrow. You know what I'm saying? Every path, whether it's
Mhm.
Christian, Buddhist, a Muslim, whatever it might be, even indigenous, it's very narrow. But that road that we're all on is the same road. We're all trying to get to the same place. And that is to be as whole and complete, as healthy and as autonomous and as connected as we can. So to me, we got different ways of getting there, and it's all valid. You know what I'm saying? But the
Mhm.
divine is getting to that unseen spiritual connection that we need to have just to get through the material world.
Yeah, in your TED talk, you talk about society, being out of alignment.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm assuming that you mean that there's one of these four, or a couple of these four
Yeah,
elements that we're just not in tune with.
really, all of them, because you think about it, we're not in tune with nature, so therefore will dominate nature, take from the minerals, take the oil, now our climate's off. You know what I'm saying? There's poison in the water and our air. We're misaligned completely. Nature teaches you take, but not more than you need to, because it will regenerate if you leave it enough. But
Right.
if you take too much, it'll hurt us, and that's where we're at now. The same with the nature of our relationships, about who we are. You know what I'm saying? We don't understand who we are. We don't make space for that. We If you can't either work, get a job, and or go to war, you're not legitimately important. You know what I mean? You only
Yeah.
have value if somebody gives you a price. You know what I mean? So I
Right.
think that's misaligned, and also the relationship with each other is misaligned. We're at war with everybody. Everybody's fighting. People are killing people for, like I said, non-essential things. There's very few essential things you would want to kill people for. That might not saying there may not be, but for the most part, people are dying for nothing. Look at all the wars, even the wars that I grew up with, which is more than you, but I'm sure even the wars that you experienced in your life.
Yeah.
Why? It would waste of time. Politicians create them and pour people into fighting them. And then, of course, the relationship with the divine, which to me is just very distorted as well. I'm not against anybody's religion, but I do think institutions can be distorted. I do think some religions have distorted the relationship with the divine. They make it about um, what you believe in. Like I always tell people, okay, let's just even take Christianity. Jesus never says, be a good Christian, be a better Christian. Never says that. He gives you the two, laws: have a meaningful, respectful relationship with your God, have a meaningful and respectful relationship with others. You know what I'm saying? He gives you stories about the importance of this, of the blessed of the poor. He has these great things,
Yeah.
and he never says be a good Christian. My idea, though,
Yeah.
is if you follow and be a decent human being, you're going to be a good Christian. But that's really what it's saying: how to be decent and whole and dignified in this world. That's what I believe all these teachings are, all of them. So I think that's what I'm saying. Our society has misaligned everything and distorted all these things.